Hey everybody, Mando here, and just wanted to do a quick video going over um, some damage ideas for DPS phases for bosses. I know there's a lot of new folks in the clan here that have joined recently, and a lot of folks that are new to raiding and doing dungeons. So I just wanted to give you some ideas for damage options for different classes. Today I'm going to be going over a Titan build and some ideas for doing damage with a Titan. So let's get into it. So as you can see, I'm on Prismatic here. I have T-Crash. I'm also running Facet of Courage, which is going to do some extra damage whenever the target is afflicted with a Darkness debuff, which I have the Shackle Grenade. Plus, if I'm going to be using Transcendence as well, so I'm going to be using my grenade there that also will be suspending the target. So that'll give me some extra damage there. Other than that, I have Cuirass on, which is just a no-brainer for doing T-Crash to get some extra damage out. When it comes to stats, I have 130 in the super stat, which you don't have to have it that high, but as high as you can get. But the main stat that you're going to be going for this build is having the weapon stat at least 170 or higher. The higher the weapon stat that you have, the better, just because the main source of damage that you're going to be doing is going to be is going to be through Wolfsbane with the sword here. So the weapon stat you can see here is going to be doing, it's giving me basically 7.5 more damage to bosses. So that's going to help. Plus I have 2 solar surges here as well. That's going to be helping with doing the damage. Wolfsbane is a solar weapon. And I also have fonts here on my armor. One for melee and one for super. So my super is actually going to be 20 higher than what I have right here. It's going to be 150 to give me even more damage on the target. Having the weapon stat high like this is also going to help with refilling your ammo between damage phases, which is also helpful. The ammo bricks are going to be bigger, so what I get consistently when I'm running this build is Wolfsbane I'll be getting like 10 ammo per heavy pickup. So usually at the end of a damage phase, I usually have like anywhere from 14 to like 18 ammo left. So just getting a couple ammo bricks, giving me 10 apiece, gets me right back up to full real quick. So ideally that's what you want. And when you have different damage phases for different bosses, most of the time there's a certain hidden timer that you have to do mechanics within, and there's a time limit that you have to do the mechanics in. So you want to make sure that you can fill up on ammo as quick as possible, and you don't want to be holding your team up. Plus, if you're in an instance where you are doing mechanics, say in the final boss of Crota's End, and let's just say that you're one of the guys that are grabbing the sword, more than likely you're not going to be killing ads all that much, and you're going to have only a limited amount of time that you're going to be able to do that. So if you can get ammo back faster, that is ideal. Other than that, that is the build. Real quick, you may be wondering why I have 2 surges versus having a weapon font mod on. That is because the weapon font mod here is only going to be increasing my weapon stat by 20, and there is a cap for how much percent extra damage the weapon stat will give me. As you can see with primary and special, it's at 11 right now, and it caps out at 15. And the heavy weapon damage, I believe, only goes up to 10. So really, I would only, if I got it up to 200, I would only be getting another 2.5% essentially, of extra damage, versus with 2 font mods, I believe it's like 20%. It's either 15 or 20% extra damage. Either way, it's a drastic difference between 2.5%, or even if it was 15, that's a drastic difference in damage, percentage wise. So then the weapon of choice that I'm using for damage is Wolfsbane. This is a sword that is relatively new. It came in Ash and Iron through a exotic mission. Once you do the mission, you'll be able to get the sword here, or the axe. If you want to get the catalyst that I have, you will have to go in and do certain tasks within the mission to get the different catalysts. I have attrition orbs on, mainly because it helps me keep myself alive during damage phases, because I have the healing mod on here. Whenever I pick up orbs, it will heal me, so that helps keep me alive during DPS, especially if I'm doing something solo, like a solo dungeon. So it kind of helps you most of the time. If you're going into endgame content, a lot of the time you need to be self-sufficient, and be able to keep yourself alive. So anything that you can do to help with that helps your team out too, because that means they don't have to worry about, throwing healing grenades or rifts and things like that to help you out. So if you can stay alive, that is more time of everybody doing damage to the boss, and less time folks running around trying to res people. Other than that, we are going to be going into the firing range here to do damage. So if you're not sure where that is, it's in the tower, and then you go all the way over here to the shooting range. Now you can change the power deficit that you are going into this. If you're prepping for, say, like a day 1, you can go to ultimate here. It's not going to be the exact same, but it'll be giving you an idea of what kind of damage you're going to be doing for any builds that you want to try out for day 1 content. Since we're just looking to help those going into normal raids and dungeons, we're just going to go into normal here and load it up. Now, the amount of time that I'm planning on doing for damage here is going to be based off of the Crota's End damage phase and the final boss, which when you're damaging Crota, you have ideally about 30 seconds worth of time to do damage. And that's usually across the board pretty close to what most damage phases end up being. So that's kind of what I'm going to use as a point of reference. Also, with Wolfsbane, you'll notice here down by my super bar, there's a bar down there that says Nano Assault. Before going to damage, you want to make sure that you have that filled up and ready to go, because that is going to help with you doing more damage. So I'm going to come in here and just hit these frames, build this bar up real quick to make sure that I have it ready to go. Okay, there it is full. Alright, so we want to make sure that we have something, or at least I do, something big and bulky for me to hit, because most of the time bosses are pretty big and bulky. So let's go with the Hive, and once they load in here, we're gonna load in a big Alright, so we also want to make sure that our numbers are not skewed on the scoreboard. So if you're not familiar with the shooting range, if you have numbers up here on the board, you can always come over here to this little clock symbol on the right hand side and you shoot that, and it will reset the damage over here. Alright, other than that, we want to make sure that we rally over here to get full ammo, full transcendence bar, and full super. Now, we also want to make sure that we are full up on orbs as well before going into damage, because if you're running around killing ads and things like that before going into a boss DPS phase, more than likely you're going to have at least 1 or 2 orbs that you've picked up recently before going into the damage phase. So we're going to go over here to this little console over here, and this will spit out some orbs for us to go into damage with. Now, going into damage, if you really want to max out your damage, you can use your Transcendence here. I'm going to try to do that. Here, going into damage on the Ogre, I'm going to use Transcendence just to pump out a little bit more damage on him. But let me grab one more orb here before going into damage. All right. Here we go. All right, and there you have it, folks. 70k damage. Not bad. Not bad at all. And you can see here that my super, I got over my half of my super back. So it's not going to take me long to get my super back in the in-between time between damage phases. You're going to be running around killing ads and whatnot, and you're going to have a good like minute or two, maybe 3, to build that up. And like I said, you're going to be killing things and whatnot, so you're going to fill that right back up. Obviously, if I had my super stat higher, I may have got it up to like 3/4, in which case I could have spent maybe a few seconds during damage to run around and see if there was like a well or something to pick up a couple extra orbs. And if that was the case, and get another T-Crash off, I could have increased this maybe by another like 10k or so. I say 10k, the super would be worth more than that, but if I'm running around and not doing damage, then that is damage lost. So more than likely it would probably be like 80k worth, but that is like if you're absolutely maximizing like damage and you absolutely need to get that extra DPS in, which in day ones sometimes you have to do, and you got to do what you got to do. But there you go. That's a simple damage rotation here on Titan with Thundercrash and Wolfsbane. And as you can see, my Nano Assault is completely full. It actually was full before the 30 seconds was even up, and technically could have activated again and gotten maybe a little bit more damage out. However, I don't like doing that, especially if you're in a raid, say like Crota's End, and there's only a certain amount of time that you have between damage phases, because if you use all of your heavy ammo, then you are having to get all of it back. And if you use the Nano Assault, then you have to build that bar back up, which means you're going to be using heavy ammo during the between part, the middle part between damage phases. And ideally, you don't want to have to do that. So I don't see it as worth it for a couple thousand, maybe more DPS. Like, you might get like another couple thousand out of it. Unless your team is like absolutely cooking and is looking to like 1 phase or like 2 phase, and you know that your team is like, you know, good to go, and that, you know, there's not really going to be a lot of mistakes, and you can kind of farm up ammo, then that's a different story. But if you're with a bunch of randoms, or you're just looking to get it done and you're with some clan mates that are kind of new, or you don't have like absolute gamers with you, then probably should not use the Nano Assault and just let the bar stay full, because now I can go into damage, I can kill a bunch of ads, get my ammo filled back up along with my super, and I don't have to worry about this other bar and filling that up. So, but there you go. There's a nice, easy build, an easy damage rotation for anybody that is new to pull off. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope it was helpful. And I'll see you guys in the next one. And like I said, I will be doing different classes and different builds and different damage ideas to give you guys different options to use for different things. Because obviously this damage and build is not designed for anything that's like long distance, like at the end of the shooting range or something like that. This would be something that is just like this ogre that's going to be standing here, and you can just get up close and personal doing damage with a sword. So, but yeah, once again, hopefully this was helpful, and hopefully you guys liked it. All right, everybody, have a good one.